Yeah, you do the more part of the writing on your own, you say?
No,
or
it's Danny, and Danny does a lot of the initial ideas, you know, bringing stuff to the table, and it's always at various stages of completion, you know. And with John, it's a more of a collaborative process with me. But I guess I'm kind of the I kind of like produce and direct the band in a way. So like, for example, like Internal Landscapes, it was just an old forgotten riff of Danny's. We get into the studio, and I said, "Okay, Danny, you play guitar. John, sit there. Here's the beat. Dum, 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 you know, and that's the beat." And Christer, the producer at the time, said, "Okay, you play the bass." And I was kind of stood there directing the thing, you know, just making sure that it felt right, you know. And I guess that's where I come into.
Does Danny, you've of course known for a long time, manage to surprise you still with his writing?
Surprise, no, but
Inspire, maybe?
oh, definitely. I think one of the consequences of why his writing's improved is he's got better at playing as well, especially on the piano. He's a much better piano player now than he was a few years ago. He's been playing constantly. You know, he bought this keyboard with actual hammer-weighted keys, and he's been playing constantly on that. He wrote "Dreaming Light" on that piano. He wrote "The Lost Child" on that piano, and "The Lost Child" was interesting, especially because he had that idea from a dream. So he woke up. It was during the "Here Because We're Here" sessions, and he woke up in the middle of the night, about 4 o'clock in the morning, came into my room and said, "I've just had this amazing visual dream. This boy was singing this tune, and this is the tune." I said, "Okay, get up, we'll record it." So we recorded it, and then he told me about the dream and told me about this whole scene, this whole scenario, and okay, we're going to have to write that down and make sure we keep that, and then just go back to sleep and then talk about it in the morning. And so then when he had that initial thing, and then the rest of the chords came very naturally, and I was there to just say, okay, you don't have to repeat that part, you can just go back into this part here, and, you know, in that way help him out with it. But really, he was kind of going through that song, you know, on the piano, and it contains some of his best piano playing as well. So in that way, he's really improved, and he is more inspired now than he ever was, really.
Yeah, because you mentioned before you worked more or less simultaneously on Falling Deeper with the orchestra.
Yeah, it was like spinning plates, you know.
Did that also maybe resonates a little bit onto the other album?
Yeah. The first time we worked with the orchestra was on "We're Here Because We're Here." We only did 3 songs though, you know. But it was just an indication. And that was thanks to Stephen and our manager, Andy, who'd said, get a real orchestra, you can't use, you know, you need a real orchestra on these 3 songs. And Stephen knew the guy, Dave Stewart, perfect guy. So then after working with Dave Stewart on that one, those 3 songs, we did Falling Deeper with him, and he did a fantastic job arranging the orchestra. And on that album, it's a case of where you have to know when to get out the way, especially if you're doing orchestral music, because you have 26 string players, you know. That's a big sound. You can't get in the way of that, you know. That has to take the lead, and everything else that goes on after that is just to fill the gaps here or there. That's why there's not many vocals on the album. So it just didn't need it.
But when you go so big with an orchestra, it almost is as big as you can get, maybe as a pop rock act, to have that. How is it to maybe do it maybe then afterwards without an orchestra, or maybe parts with? Is it to go back to the roots, maybe?
You can't really. I mean, if you're going to have strings, you have to use real strings. You have to use. You can't really go back. That's the difference. You can't go back to using, you know, a synth string once you've got real ones.
And did you have
it's more expensive, you know.
Did you have access for this record too to use that?
Well, yeah. We did. It's less of an orchestral record, of course. So we, I think we did 5 songs with the orchestra. Yeah. So it's the full 22 piece or 26 piece.